Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text number 3. Te piditani vivishuhu Kuru Pancala Kekayan Shalvan Vidarbhan Nishadhan Videhan Kosalan api. Translation. Persecuted by the demoniac kings, the Yadavas left their own kingdom and entered various others, like those of the Kurus, Pancalas, Kekayas, Salvas, Vidarbhas, Nishadhas, Videhas and Kosalas. So, if you look at the old ancient map of India from Mahabharata, then you can see Yadavas, they are living in Mathura, around Mathura region, and they are leaving the place. They are fleeing to other kingdoms nearby North India, that is North India region, Panchala, Kekaya, Salva, also Videha and Kosala, North and East India, as well as the South India regions are Vidarbha and Nishadhas. So they are spreading out everywhere outside of Mathura. We'll read the next two verses, text 4 and 5. Eki tamanurvandhana gnataya paryupasate ateshu satchu baleshu devakya ugrasenina saptamo vaishnavam dhama yamanantam prachakshade garbo babhuva devakya harshashoka vivardhana. Eke, some of them, tam, unto Kamsa, anurundana, exactly following his policy, yataya, relatives, paryupasate, began to agree with him, ateshu, having been killed, satsu, 6, baleshu, children, devakya, born of Devaki, Ugrasenina, by the son of Ugrasena, Kamsa, Saptama, the 7th, Vaishnavam, of Lord Vishnu, Dhamma, a plenary expansion, Yam, unto whom, Anantam, by the name Ananta, Prachakshate, is celebrated, Garbha, embryo, Babhuva, there was, Devakya, of Devaki, Harsha Shoka, Vivardhana, simultaneous arousing, pleasure and lamentation. Translation. Some of their relatives, however, began to follow Kamsa's principles and act in his service. After Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena, killed the 6 sons of Devaki, a plenary portion of Krishna entered her womb as her 7th child, arousing her pleasure and her lamentation. That plenary portion is celebrated by great sages as Ananta, who belongs to Krishna's 2nd quadruple expansion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Some of the chief devotees, such as Akrura, stayed with Kamsa to satisfy him. This they did for various purposes. They all expected the Supreme Personality of Godhead to appear as the 8th child as soon as Devaki's other children were killed by Kamsa, and they were eagerly awaiting his appearance. By remaining in Kamsa's association, they would be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead take birth and display his childhood pastimes. And Akrura would later go to Vrindavan to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. The word Pariyupasate is significant because it indicates that some devotees wanted to stay near Kamsa in order to see all these pastimes of the Lord. The 6 children killed by Kamsa had formerly been sons of Marichi, but because of having been cursed by a Brahmana, they were obliged to take birth as grandsons of Hiranyakashipu. Kamsa had taken birth as Kalanemi, and now he was obliged to kill his own sons. This was a mystery. As soon as the sons of Devaki were killed, they would return to their original place. The devotees wanted to see this also. Generally speaking, no one kills his own nephews, but Kamsa was so cruel that he did so without hesitation. Ananta Sankarshan belongs to the second Chaturvyuha or quadruple expansion. This is the opinion of experienced commentators. Om Ajnanate Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, here we are getting into the further mystery that is happening before Krishna's appearance. Lord Krishna says that my birth and activities are very mysterious, as well as they are transcendental. Janma karma chame divyam. Evam yo veti tatvata. Yaktva deham punarjanma na iti mam iti swarjuna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that his appearance and his activities, his lila pastimes, they are divyam, they are divine. They have nothing to do with the material world. Just as material energy cannot come near Krishna, the material energy cannot touch his birth and activities and everything related to Krishna. Because Krishna Surya Sam Maya hai Andhakar. Material energy is darkness and Krishna is origin of all light. So darkness cannot come near light. Similarly, the material energy cannot come near Krishna. So all the devotees, all the pure devotees are also like Krishna. They are also transcendental. And the material energy cannot touch them. So Krishna says, one who understands this fact, then he also becomes liberated immediately. And he does not have to take birth again in the material world. Yaktva deham punarjanma. There is no punarjanma after leaving this body. But he goes to Krishna Loka, the spiritual world. So that is 4th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying. Now, who has the problem, even after studying the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that they cannot understand this simple statement given by Krishna? So, the commentators of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Prabhupada also says that these are called the demons. The demons are atheist class of people. They cannot understand even after reading this. Why? Because as we discussed yesterday, these demons have the problem, they cannot, they are entangled in the mode of passion and ignorance, and therefore they have acquired asuri sampatti, they have acquired low-class qualities. There are 6 low-class qualities that we had mentioned yesterday. Dambha, Darpa, Abhimana, Krodha, Paurusham, and Ajnanam. So, these are basically related qualities related to Abhiman or pride. That's the English translation generally, pride. One is desiring of a lot of samman or respect from everybody, and he poses himself as a very religious person, even though he has so many bad habits, low-class qualities, like drinking, intoxication, gambling, meat eating, etc. He's still posing as a religious person. And Darpa is he's proud of his situation, whatever knowledge he has acquired or whatever money he has acquired, he's very proud of that. So these are all qualities Krishna mentions as demoniac qualities. And because of this demoniac qualities and the association that these demons have, the company that they keep also of similar people, they cannot come out of their surrounding, and whatever Krishna says or pure devotees say, it does not make sense to them. And they come up with all kinds of weird philosophies. They misguide themselves and the population. So that was the situation at the time of Kamsa when he was ruling Mathura. He had deposed and captured and imprisoned his own grandfather, Ugrasena, and he was punishing innocent people, whoever was a devotee or attached to Krishna or to Lord Vishnu. He was severely punishing them, killing a lot of innocent people, etc. And he had friends also like that: Pralamba, Baka, Chanura, Tinavarta, Agasura, Mushtika, Arista, Dvivida, Putana, Keshi, Denuka, Banasura, Naraka, so many of them. All of these are some of the main ones that are listed in Srimad Bhagavatam that we talked about yesterday. And devotees, they naturally become very happy when these demons are killed by Krishna. You probably know, we discussed three main demons, the most powerful demons. Who are they? Anybody remembers the three? Agasura, that's number one, yes. Aristasura, that's number two. And Keshi. Keshi is also very powerful. So all of the three of them were killed in Vrindavan Vraja area. You know where, if you have been to Vrindavan, you know where Shyam Kund Radha Kund is. That is where Aristasura was killed, and therefore that village is also known as Aristagram. This is the place where Aristasura was killed. Krishna he came as a very big bull, and Krishna very easily killed him after fighting him for some time. He rotated him with his hand and then threw him up. And when he fell on the ground, his whole body exploded. So that was the Aristasura. And then there was the whole discussion between Krishna and Radharani. There was some controversy. And out of that controversy was the Shyam Kund and Radha Kund that came out on the earth planet. Shyam Kund, Radha Kund, they eternally exist in the spiritual world, but this is how, by this pastime, they manifested on the earth planet. And Rupa Goswami says that this place is the most holiest of all holy places, Shyam Kund and Radha Kund. Especially he mentions Radha Kund. So Aristasura, even though he was such a great demon, friend of Kamsa, very bad personality, because Krishna touched him and rotated him around, so his whole body became very sacred, very holy. Whatever Krishna touches becomes also Krishnized or completely spiritual. Similarly, in case of Keshi also, Krishna entered his hand into the Keshi's mouth and into the throat and choked him up, because when Krishna's hand went inside the throat of Keshi, then the hand started becoming bigger and bigger. Like, you know, some athletes, how they pump up the muscles and show their muscles very big. But Krishna's hand became so big that it choked off such a big horse demon, and he had to leave his body also. And the soul left the body and entered into Krishna's body. They get Brahma Nirvanam. The demons, they get the liberation of Brahman, Sayujya Mukti. So their body becomes very holy. The liberation that the yogis and the impersonalists get by performing austerities for millions and millions of years, for meditation for a long, long time, that is achieved very easily by demons by posing themselves as enemies of Krishna and being killed by Krishna. And similar thing happened in case of Aghasura also, because Lord Krishna had entered and the coward boys had entered into the mouth of Aghasura. So his body was also purified, became a sacred place. So this is the quality of Krishna, that whatever touches Krishna becomes very holy, very sacred. And devotees know this secret, so they always keep themselves sacred by chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That way, their whole body becomes sacred place, holy place, because the holy name vibrates on the tongue and it spreads throughout every cell of the body. So, this is the method. Also, by reading about Krishna, devotees keep themselves very pure, remembering Krishna's pastimes, the holy places that they visited, Krishna's pastime places. So, by all these methods, devotees, even when living in the material world, and they may be performing any kind of activity, but they keep themselves very pure by this technique of chanting the names and remembering Krishna. So, before Krishna appeared, these Kamsa and his friends, they were harassing the innocent devotees and they had to flee from their own homes. They had to close down their businesses and run away to other places far, far away, hundreds of miles, sometimes 1,000 miles, far, far away places, taking their family and whatever possessions they could pick it up, and they had to flee. So even the kings had to flee like that, because they were Yadavas, they were relatives of Krishna, and they were prime target of Kamsa and his friends. Only a few of them survived in Mathura, and Akrura specifically is mentioned. There were a few others. Because Akrura is pure devotee and he's also a very great diplomat, so he made friendship with Kamsa externally. His reason for staying Mathura was to witness and to relish the pastimes of the appearance of the Lord, and later on to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura and relish the pastimes. See all the activities of Krishna as an elder uncle. He was very much happy to have the association of Krishna in Mathura. So therefore he tolerated all the inconveniences and all the troubles that were given to him by Kamsa. As you know, Devaki and Vasudeva also had to go through so many troubles. Even though they are the greatest pure devotees of Krishna, they are always absorbed in thinking about Krishna. They are the eternal parents of Krishna in Mathura and in Dwarka. So there is no question for them to actually having to go through any kinds of material pains, because they are ever liberated souls. So then the question may arise, then why they had to be imprisoned? So this is what happens? Devotees, even pure devotees, sometimes we see that they have to undergo extremely, seemingly, apparently extremely painful situations. And they are able to tolerate even the most painful situations that we can even imagine. What is the reason? There are many examples, starting with Vasudeva and Devaki in the pages of Bhagavatam, and also in the life of Srila Prabhupada. Also we see in our lives of our acharyas, we see that they go through painful situations. Who are the other great devotees that we see them suffering a lot of pains and tribulations and tests when they are performing their pastimes in this world? We see Devaki and Vasudeva here suffering a lot in the prison. Who can imagine that the children, sons, one after another being killed by one's own brother? That was Devaki's. I mean, no mother can tolerate. Even somebody takes away the child and in front of the mother smashes the little newborn baby on the stone. And the blood is splattered all over the place. Very horrible, ghastly scene. And mother, it would break her heart. And she had to go through this 6 times. So it's the most painful situation. The mothers probably can actually understand the agony that one has to go through. And Vasudeva also was sitting right next to his wife, Devaki, and he had to also silently tolerate all this pain. So how they were able to tolerate so much pain? Because they are meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Continuously, they are in a prayer mode, praying to the Supreme Lord, and eagerly awaiting the appearance of the Lord. That only Krishna can protect us in this calamity, in this most horrible situation. Only Krishna can protect us. So this is their continuous meditation and thinking. And because of that, they were able to tolerate such horrible pain. Similarly, we see Prahlad Maharaj also suffering by the hand of very great demon Hiranyakashipu. His own father tortured him like we can't imagine. It's hard to imagine how a small boy can go through so much pain. And there are many devotees. Pandavas, they had to go through so much pain. So devotees are able to take the painful situation because they are fully depending on the mercy of the Lord. That Krishna is giving me strength to tolerate this painful situation, and Krishna will take care of me also in the future, and I will come out of this test successfully. So they are able to remain on the spiritual platform. We see in the case of like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj was there in his last days. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was going through also cancer symptoms and very severe pains, etc. And Radhanath Maharaj describes how he was able to handle the pain, and he was able to absorb in the holy name of the Lord and pastimes of the Lord, even up to the last moment. And we see also in case of Srila Prabhupada, how Prabhupada was able to absorb in the pastimes. He continued his translations and purports on Srimad Bhagavatam. This is 10th Canto, 2nd chapter. So this is written also in the last days of Prabhupada. The first 2 volumes, part 1 and part 2, were translated by Srila Prabhupada just before he left the planet. And the doctors told the devotees that he's going through extreme painful situation because his body does not His body is very emaciated, there's no fat tissue, and the nerves are rubbing against the bones, only bones and skin is there. So it's very painful to live in that kind of situation. And somebody else would die. The doctor said that anybody else probably would die just out of the painful situation. But Prabhupada was able to tolerate it. And not only that, but he was able to continue his activities of translation and consulting, talking with devotees, guiding them in his last days. So we see that great devotees, they are able to go through very severe kind of situations and come out successful. And that is how they are celebrated as great devotees. Normally, ordinary people or people like me, we would pray to the Lord that, my dear Lord, I don't want to suffer. Please, I just want to be a nice devotee, a happy devotee, but not go through so much trouble and so much pain, etc. That is our general prayer. But an advanced devotee, he does not mind going through painful situations in order to preach Krishna consciousness or to help others to become liberated from this entanglement of suffering. So that is called paradukha dukhi. The devotee, he is willing to go through pains in order to make other people happy. Just like a mother, she is willingly taking pains so that her children would have nice time. Parents do that many times. They sacrifice so many things so that children can have a nicer life. So similarly, a devotee, he has feeling for everybody because he sees that these are all parts and parcel of Krishna, these are all Krishna's children and they're suffering, and how I can help them to alleviate their suffering. So that is what we see in our case here, Devaki and Vasudeva. Kamsa is ruthless, very cruel person, a very great demon, powerful, and he is harassing and torturing them. We discuss how he had killed these children and what was the history behind. It's mentioned here also that they were sons of Marichi, and then they were cursed by Lord Brahma, and then they had to take birth as demons in the family of Hiranyakashipu, Kalnemi's sons, and Kalnemi was killed. They took shelter of Bali Maharaj, and they were continuously thinking about Krishna, and then they, by Yogamaya, by Krishna's arrangement, they got the birth in Devaki's womb, and they were killed by Kamsa because they were cursed to be by Hiranyakashipu that you are demons, you are my grandsons, and you are thinking and talking about Vishnu. This is very horrible. So I curse you that your father will kill you. That was the curse they had to also take. First they were cursed by Brahma, next time they were cursed by Hiranyakashipu. So twice cursed. And Kalnemi was killed, but he came as Kamsa in his next life, again to fight with Vishnu. He always wants to fight with Vishnu. So Krishna came, and now he is ready to again fight with Krishna. So, and he was not father, but he was maternal uncle, so he was in a fatherly position. And in previous life, he was the father, so he killed his own children from previous life. They were his sons. But he didn't know that. So he killed his own sons and the nephews, Devaki's children. And then they were sent to Yamaloka, and Devaki later on wanted to see her children, 6 killed sons, because she had gone through this horrible experience. So Krishna went to Yamaloka, brought back his elder brothers from Yamraj, and presented them to his mother Devaki. Devaki gave milk, breastfed them, these little kids, 6 children. And because Krishna had previously sucked the breast of Devaki, so they got liberation by taking the remnants of Krishna. That was their final good luck, and they went back to Godhead. So it ended in a good way, even after going through so many problems that they had to. They finally got Krishna's remnants. So as devotees, we get remnants also, Mahaprasad of Krishna. That's a great benediction. Even though devotees have to go through so many troubles, the great benediction is that they are able to chant the holy names, they are able to take part in kirtans, in studying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, helping to spread this message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, helping to spread the holy name, help to distribute prasadam. So by helping and assisting in spreading the Lord Chaitanya's movement, devotees become also very glorious. And even they don't mind undergoing some troubles because the benefit or the reward is so great that the trouble, temporarily, some inconveniences, some difficulties, devotees happily are able to tolerate. So, any questions or comments?
It's just for clarification. Devaki's father was Devaka.
Yes.
Kamsa's father was Ugrasena.
Yes.
How are they brothers and sisters?
They were brothers, Ugrasena and Devaka.
Oh, Devaki and Ugrasena were brothers.
Right, so they were
I
cousins.
see. Thank you.
Welcome. Mataji?
You were mentioning how, as devotees, obviously we get a lot of mercy, but we also suffer as well. And particularly as we're getting older, we're suffering physically with our bodies. And obviously through, sometimes our bodies are suffering such that, we can't engage in our service much. It impedes our service because we can't get out and do as much service as we could. How are we to understand this, that we're still suffering physically and it's impeding our service? Yes. So are we still getting Krishna's mercy because we're not able to serve as much because of the troubles with the body?
Right. Yes. That is also a kind of difficult situation that as devotees, we have to go through some sufferings. A lot of devotees go through mental suffering, and many devotees also go through physical suffering. As we get older, the bodily sufferings keep on increasing. As the body is gradually falling apart, the suffering is we know that it's not going to decrease. It's rather going to. I'm running 62, so I have some experience with suffering that I never could have imagined before, but now it's coming. And when something hits, some sudden more suffering hits the body, then even performing normal duties in devotional service become very hard to perform. So that is a setback. That is a very great, because devotee can go through suffering, but one thing he does not like is to stop his service or to stop his chanting the holy names or whatever duties he might have performing, deity service, etc. So that is a very big setback. And Prabhupada said that we have to be not only mentally very strong to endure the suffering situation by taking shelter of the holy name, but also sometimes the bodily pain is so severe that we should not be ashamed to take some medical help or some medicines so that we can continue or maintain as much as possible our sadhana, our bhakti yoga practices, our chanting, our services, etc. As far as possible, we should try and struggle because Prabhupada, he did not, he himself showed by his example that he would take the medicines given by the Ayurvedic doctors. And he said that devotees, Western devotees, they can take Western medicines also. Or if you are a Chinese devotee, because now the holy name and these books are translated and all over the world. Practically speaking, we have many languages, many countries, many centers. So devotees from all over the world, the number of devotees is increasing tremendously. Previously, it was only Prabhupada. He was single-handedly trying to establish, but he became victorious and he captured. He could establish not only in America, but all over the world centers. And he started the movement, Lord Chaitanya's movement all over the world. And devotees but many devotees are getting old also. So, if we take the example of Srila Prabhupada and take whatever medicine we have to take and continue with our work, our devotional service, our chanting, then that is good. Otherwise, the suffering is there. But till we come to the platform, I don't know, like Prahlad Maharaj, he did not have to take any medicine. He was able to tolerate pain even when he was thrown into the boiling oil. I mean, who can tolerate that? Or, horrible pains like that. Very excruciating, painful situations. And without taking any medicine, he was able to, just simply by chanting Hare Krishna, he was able to tolerate by chanting and remembering Krishna. So that is the topmost situation. Same thing, Haridas Thakur, same thing, many great devotees, they are able to tolerate painful situations without medication. But we should not try to imitate very great exalted devotees. We should take the medicine and also keep the mind focused and strong and try to focus on the holy name. Because ultimately the holy name has the power. All the power, all the energies are there. In India, there are many examples of evil people that have been cured by diseases like cancer by the holy name. The holy name gives the result according to one's faith. Medicine also works the same principle. As much as you have faith on the medicine, it will act more. Now the doctors and scientists, they have found out that they gave placebo, a fake medicine. And they tell the patient that this is fake medicine, this is not a real medicine, this is placebo. And still the improvement is there up to 65% in their symptoms and in their disease. Even after knowing that this is not the real medicine, this is a fake medicine, still it gives. So it's the mental and body connection. The mind-body connection is there, always. So if we have faith that this can cure me, then it can cure. This will release my... And in reality, the holy name has all the power. It's just our mind has to be convinced completely. Then simply by the holy name, we can overcome any kind of difficulty or painful situation. So it's a practice. Gradually it comes. Prabhupada said, if you have patience and patiently work on it, it will happen. All right? Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki? Srila Prabhupada ki? Jai.